Albert Allen Bartlett, who taught at UC Boulder, University of Colorado at Boulder, he says that the greatest shortcoming of the human race is our inability to understand the exponential function. So let me explain this, and they call this the Linear-Exponential Deception. As we grew up as humans, the world around us is linear. The observable universe moves on a linear path. So the day has 24 hours. The year has 365 days. The seasons come and go on a very predictable linear schedule. Now, if I ask you to take 30 linear steps, like each step at a time, how far would you get? 30 meters. I mean, it's super easy. It's predicted. Especially that we've got good sense of how far that is. For me, I would think it's probably going to be by the end of the door, by the end of the hall, or a little bit farther. So that's easy. Now, if I ask you to take 30 exponential steps, so each step is twice as far as the previous step. Okay, so instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, you go 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on and so forth. So in 30 exponential steps, how far would you get? Can I have any guesses? 2 to the power 29, that's right. And that's how much? Like, give me an estimate. It's 1 billion meters. It's 1 million kilometers. That's enough for you to go around the planet Earth 25 times. That's to the moon, back from the moon, and to the moon again halfway. So, I mean, that gives you an idea of what is the difference, what is the big difference between linear and exponential. So we'll cover this a little bit as we go. So these are exponential trends. This is linear thinking. Now, looking at this graph, there are 3 important points. The first point is, it's called disappointment. Because exponential trends, they start out very slowly at the beginning. They inch forward at the beginning. And because our linear mind wants them to be bigger, so that's why we come to a word of disappointment. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Google Glass, but the first time Google released their Google Glass, they were very expensive. Battery life was terrible. Functionality was pretty poor, and you look like an idiot wearing them. So if somebody gives you a Google Glass at that time, you will dismiss it. You'll get disappointed. And you'll dismiss it because to you it's not good and it's not going to be good. So you come to a word. This is a classic case of disappointment. And then comes the second point where the linear curve crosses the exponential trend, and that's called the iPhone moment. And that's when Steve Jobs got on stage and showed the whole world the iPhone for the very first time. All the people that attended the keynote speech of Steve Jobs at that particular day, they looked at their brand new Nokia phones, and they threw them away because they never compared with the magical iPhone. The iPhone was more of a mini computer rather than a regular phone. So everything changed from that moment. And then comes the third point, which is chaos and amazement. Chaos and amazement is the word that we're living in right now. Today, smartphone penetration in Kenya is 7%. In 3 years, that number is going to go up to 90%. So in 3 years, all of Kenya is going to be online, on the internet. So that's chaos and amazement. See, if we look at the yellow curve here, like if we talk about the digital photography, when Kodak started, the resolution was 0.01 megapixel, and then it was 0.02, 0.04. When it arrives this point, at this particular point there, it was 2 megapixels, and that's when you no longer buy a digital camera anymore. But anybody who's looking at the resolution that is growing here in this region gets disappointed. And that's why he dismisses like the technology. That's why Kodak decided to halt the development at that particular time, because they could only see the 0 resolution at that time. But if they waited like for 9 years, then the resolution will grow and reach the 2 megapixels, and that's when you no longer buy a film camera anymore. That's when the technology becomes disruptive, the digital photography. Kodak disappeared. They declared their bankruptcy in 2012. Okay. So now, if you decide to stay linear in this whole accelerating world, then that's your path to doom in your thinking. You will disappear. Your business model is going to disappear. You're not going to be around there tomorrow. You're going to be out of the game, and you're going to be removed to the heap ash of history where nobody would ever care about you. And that's exactly what happened to Iridium, Nokia, and Kodak. They all did the same mistake, as I said. They used linear tools and trends of the past to predict an accelerating world. That's the mistake that they did.